This is the reality of combustion engines we see every day. In Germany, the courts say now cities can outlaw combustion engines. In the UK, they are taxing diesel until they go away.
But if you have an older diesel car, driving in some city centres could cost you £20 a day.
Vehicles' exhaust is part of the problem, while combustion as such is the problem in general.
Is abandoning the hundreds of millions of vehicles that are powered by internal combustion engines the answer? Are the millions of jobs that are going to be lost? Are the trillions of dollars worth of infrastructure, of development and know-how that we've developed over the last century and a half on internal combustion engines? Is throwing that all away the answer? I don't think so. We've already found a way of converting one engine, the jet turbine or the gas turbine, to operate on heat alone. I'm Virgil Perryman. I've been an inventor and an innovator for most of my life. But 15 years ago, I entered into the most compelling period of my life when I began a search for an alternative energy source that would replace plasma for high temperature applications that were involved with waste management and other chemical processes. We turned to the sun and we found that the solar thermal of the day was ignoring 60% of the energy available from the sun because they ignored the infrared spectrum, and we'd invented our own. We found that after we had a better solar collector, we now needed a better storage system. 800 degrees that molten salt is barely capable of wasn't sufficient. So we decided to look at another industry. The industry we looked at was the steel industry, and we were aware that crisscrossing Europe for the last 90 years or so were these massive torpedo-shaped iron carriers that they were carrying molten steel at temperatures in excess of 1600 degrees Celsius, and there'd never been an accident. This excited us, so we approached the company that was manufacturing and making the refractory and the other containment for this storage technology and used it for our own. We still use this same company. They have helped us develop our prototypes, our first, second, and third generation, but now the Perryman battery, as we've decided to name it, can store 3 times as much energy, is totally transportable, portable, can be charged from various sources, whether it's direct thermal, the sun, or even magnetic induction, which allows us to store hundreds of megawatts in just a few hours. Our third generation, it is now possible to store gigawatts of energy, and at a cost that is a fraction of that of electrochemical batteries, and size, space, and volume generally of less than a tenth of the size of electrochemical batteries. And this has opened up so many new applications and possibilities. We can retrofit coal plants. We're using the energy that we collect from wind, hydro, or solar. We can retrofit gas turbines and use the same high temperature, pure thermal energy and avoid combustion. But perhaps the most exciting innovation, and the one that would have the greatest impact on the marine and the shipping industry, would be our ability to retrofit any internal combustion engine with pure heat and air.
These turbine engines power our aircraft, other transportation, and generate our electricity. But all this comes at a terrible price: pollution. Perryman Technologies has a solution now. We can end the pollution without abandoning these marvelous engines. We simply stop using combustion and change the way we are powering these turbines. We use pure heat delivered with our technology and a simple heat exchanger. As the compressed air comes into the turbine, we heat it without burning any fuel. In fact, the turbines work better than with combustion. How? All internal combustion engines work on the Charles principle. As contained gases are heated, the pressure increases. You see, all you actually need is heat to do work, and we provide a non-combustion heat source. This heat can be sourced from the wind, the sun, and the wasted energy at night from the grid, and stored in our patented thermal storage battery. The advantages are many, but most of all, we can end combustion in these turbine engines. No more NOx, SOx, CO2, zero pollution. While you save, you can help make the air cleaner for everybody, safer for my generation and the generation that follows. Thank you.
In the past, wind and renewable energy were the norm. In the early days of power transportation, heat and air drove transportation and industry. Compressed air-powered submarines during the Civil War, the Paris metro, trains, torpedoes, and even a drone many years before the Wright brothers. We are redefining our approach to replace combustibles with heat and liquid nitrogen as propellant. The principle is much the same with turbines, which don't need a combustible propellant. The turbine's compressor stage provides air at sufficient pressure, which enables the heat from our heat exchangers to expand the air and generate the thrust. Let's follow the process step by step. The heat from our battery is delivered through the intake manifold to the cylinder before compression. The piston compresses the already hot air, which further increases the temperature until the piston is reaching full compression. Then liquid nitrogen as propellant is injected. Combining with the very hot air, it expands dramatically, pushing the piston down the same way as combustion. Finally, the engine's momentum forces the piston up and the expanded nitrogen out from the exhaust manifold. By the way, nitrogen is 78% of the air we breathe. We have clean or underutilized sources for the heat we can deliver: wind, sun, hydro, and wasted electricity when there is low demand.
The Environmental Protection Agency and the International Marine Organization recently enacted a series of new regulations designed to reduce emissions from large ships and improve air quality. Large ships such as container ships, tankers, bulk carriers, and cruise ships are significant contributors to air pollution in many of the world's cities and ports.
He said industry will be installing ballast water systems like crazy, while simultaneously scrambling to comply with the IMO global 0.5% sulfur cap.
We have already tested a simple two-cycle engine which uses the same principle as a huge marine diesel which power our ships. Preheated air is sucked in, compressed, liquid nitrogen injected, and like the four-cycle engine, propulsion is achieved without combustion. This will help our marine industry meeting the requirements in 2020. Many scientists say, for a solution we only have to look at what Mother Nature is doing. Like our own planet, we have discovered that the best way to store energy is as heat. If we can get the world to change the way they see energy, we can avoid the worst. 2/3 of all energy we use is thermal energy. So we have focused on storing energy, like the planet, as heat. To contain this stored energy safely and for a long time, we are using layer after layer in the same manner as the planet. While the core has a temperature of over 3000 degrees Fahrenheit or 1800 degrees Celsius, the surface can be touched and has the temperature of the outside of your hot water heater at home. We have over the last 9 years refined and tested our thermal storage devices, as they are the heart of a system that can bring an end to combustion. To provide the heat that can replace combustion, we have scaled down our thermal batteries to sizes that can power cars, trucks, and airplanes. We have made them safe and almost indestructible. We use the most efficient and proven industrial method to charge our batteries. It takes only a fraction of the time necessary to charge the competing electrochemical batteries, and with a loss of less than 2% compared to about 8%. We achieve an energy density that is only exceeded by nuclear reactors, but of course without the radiation. Compared to electrochemical batteries, we use only 1/10 the space. And we can store 10 times more energy in the same space and weight than any other storage method at a fraction of the cost. When it is necessary, we can make energy transportable, like these 20-foot liquid containers on trucks, trains or ships. We cannot reverse the damage we inflicted on our planet and its environment, but we can work hard to find ways to stop further damage. We have to act fast, as otherwise the consequences are dire. Perryman Technologies can provide solutions, reducing the impact of internal combustion engines and gas turbines without making these reliable workhorses obsolete. However, we are not eliminating millions of jobs and hundreds of billions of dollars of infrastructure investments the internal combustion engines represent, but bring them to a new and clean use. We can also help integrating the energy we produce from wind, sun, water and other natural resources more efficiently and roll back a little the impact our industrial age has caused. We at Perryman Technologies have worked over 10 years developing and refining our solution. See yourself what the planet may look like if we don't stop global warming. Cities like London and other cities in Europe will be inundated, as will other coastal regions around the world. City after city will be underwater. From New York to Tokyo. Entire countries flooded, billions of people displaced, watching in awe how city after city disappears and how the globe map is changing. So we have to act now.